It is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. So happy to be reunited with my good friend, the one and only good-looking Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Producer Dan along for the ride as well. Let me see that John Boy Media sweatshirt. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, sure. I just got it in. A lot of new stuff at the merch store. This one's like an old school kind of like 90s baseball thing. And it's Mets colors because I'm a Mets fan now.
I guess so. I've got one of the JM sweatshirts too. This is a great one. This is for when it's 39 degrees in Los Angeles. You throw it on with the hoodie. Really works. Can't they get, whether it's at shop.johnboymedia.com. Hey, still time to shop for the holidays, so let's get it going. You know, we're less than 2 weeks away. So if you're looking for something and you got family members or friends that are huge John Boy Media fans, I guarantee you they'll love it for the holiday season. Speaking of shopping, there were 3 teams that did a little shopping on Monday, and I love off-season trades. This one, a 3-teamer, 9-player swap, Braves, Brewers, and A's. Atlanta lands the most coveted catcher on the trade market in Sean Murphy. He's the only piece they get. William Contreras, who started the All-Star game at DH for the National League a year ago, is the biggest piece heading to Milwaukee. He'll be their everyday catcher. Kyle Muller, Freddie Tarnok are the 2 big names going from Atlanta to Oakland as they pick up 5 prospects in the deal. Now, obviously, the Braves are the biggest move out of this group because they're the one that's really fighting for a playoff spot guaranteed. Is it a little bit of a head scratcher because they already have Travis d'Arnaud?
I don't see it that way at all. I think that anytime you can upgrade on your roster, you want to try to do it. And this team doesn't have a lot of holes to fill. I mean, we know they're trying to still talk to Dansby, but you know, when Sean Murphy or a catcher like Sean Murphy, who is defensively very, very good, Gold Glover in 2021, and he can hit like that, those guys aren't around all the time. So they saw a chance to upgrade and they went out and did it. And this is what good franchises do. Did they send some prospects out? Sure, they did. But, you know, like if you kind of like dive into the stats on some of these guys, like, you know, maybe they saw some issues. But like I said, it's about the major leagues and the major league roster. And they went out and upgraded. I like this move for Atlanta. I like it for Milwaukee. And guess what? C. Rose, we have to shout out our boy Talkin' Jake because he was the first one on the teams. He was the first one on Contreras going to the Brewers. So like, shout out Talkin' Jake. I love that happened for him. But I love this trade for the Brewers. I love this trade for Atlanta and like the A's, whatever. I don't even think about the A's because this is just like another typical A's move. And, you know, we're not happy with the way they run things over there.
No, but, you know, they like it when they get quantity instead of top-notch quality, right? I mean, and so they're doing that with 5 guys. To me, the most interesting piece of the trade for Oakland is this guy Ruiz, who Milwaukee obtained in the Hader trade. He steal 85 bases? I know we're trying to increase, speed on the bases with the new rules, the bigger bases, all sorts of stuff. So maybe this will help a little bit. I don't expect him to steal 85 bags out there in Oakland, but it's an interesting piece for them. As far as Sean Murphy, so d'Arnaud can be a free agent at the end of the year. He's got an $8 million. He's going to get paid $8 million this year and then an $8 million team option the next year. He's going to be 34 years old, I believe, this season. They're not going to split the catching 81 games and 81 games. You don't bring in Sean Murphy to do that. I actually think d'Arnaud's going to end up getting traded. I think he's going to be on the move because $8 million for a guy who has seemingly figured it out, and he really had his best offensive season a year ago in the, you know, as opposed, you could say 2020 was his best season, but we're talking about a 60-game year. But so really last year was his best offensive season. Solid dude, throwing numbers haven't been great in his career, but they were pretty much even with Sean Murphy a year ago. So I think he's going to end up being on the move. Whether or not they are just doing it to shed payroll or get a piece that can really help them in what they hope will be a World Series run, I don't know. But I don't mind it.
I don't know if they'd even need to trade d'Arnaud. I mean, he would be attractive. I mean, if he was a free agent now, surely he'd get over 2 years, $16 million. And it is a club option. It's not a mutual option at all. So that's fixed cost right there. And teams obviously love that. So again, like this is the Braves being a smart organization, understanding like where they're at. And they're seeing, shoot, what have the other teams in the division done? They went out and improved their roster. So the Braves are trying to keep par with that. And I think they did. They did a really good job with this.
Would it surprise you at all if, remember last year when they traded for Matt Olson, they announced the trade, and then like less than 24 hours later, he's got a brand new 8-year deal. Would you be surprised if Murphy doesn't get similar treatment? Now, remember, he's still 3 years, I think, away from being a free agent.
That's the biggest difference there. They don't have to do anything. They have these 3 years of control. If they might dangle something out there and hope that he bites. I mean, that's what they've done with other people in their organization, like sign them young, and they've reaped the benefits of that for sure. So, I mean, if they want to talk, they can, but there's no rush and they hold all the leverage.
Yep. All right. Chris Bassitt is reportedly on the move. He is going to be headed to Toronto. It sounds like 3 years, $63 million. Joins a pretty impressive staff up there. Do the Jays have the deepest rotation as it stands right now in the American League East?
I think the deepest. I would say that. You have Gausman, Manoah, and now Bassitt, 1, 2, 3. You have Barrios, who, look, he struggled mightily last year. Didn't strike out many people at all. His career low, I believe, in strikeouts per 9. So he's got to figure some stuff out. You still have Kikuchi. I think Ryu's still there. Like, they have depth, no doubt. And I like their 1, 2, 3. So they're up there. I think I'm trying to think who the Yankees 1, 2, 3 is right now. It's Cole, it's Nestor, it's
Nestor and Sevy,
and they're in the hunt for Rodon. So yeah, I mean, maybe I would say they do have the best rotation in the AL East. I love the move with Bassitt because you want consistency, and that's like what this guy is. I think it's a pretty cheap deal for them. 3 years when you get a starting pitcher and you only have to give him 3 years at 21 a year. I think this is a great deal for them. I projected him to go a little bit higher if we're being honest. But good clubhouse guy. I mean, the Blue Jays are another team that I really like going into next year, and they kind of have like depth all around the diamond. So it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe traded some people to kind of like fortify the bullpen. Maybe they add another rotation piece via the trade market. But the Bassitt signing, another great one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like the signing a lot. Barrios is the key as to whether or not they have the best rotation in this division. It's simple. He just was not good last year. He wasn't good. And he's got a 9-figure contract now. He's got to be more consistent. I mean, you know him. I really don't. Everything I hear about the kid is that he's great. You want him to be better. You want him to be more consistent. And that's the only way that they're going to improve and have a chance at an American League East title. Now, obviously, the dynamic of this narrative changes immensely if Rodon throws on pinstripes. And that's it. I could actually make an argument for Tampa Bay, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I think that with McClanahan and a full year now of Glass and Rasmussen and Eflin, who I think will probably get unlocked some way. He was always good in Philly, but I think that Tampa Bay gets a hold of some guys and takes them to a new level. So it wouldn't surprise me if like that top 4 ends up being the best.
Yeah, no, there's some good pitching there, and I am a Barrios truther, and last year kind of hurt that narrative there. But I will say this: there's nobody in the game that will work harder than Jose Barrios. That is in his blood. You give him this contract, you don't have to worry about him resting on his laurels. I know, kind of like almost looks like that because of he had the bad year, right after the deal. But this guy's working, he's tinkering, he's in the lab doing what he needs to do. I know that and it would not surprise me if he had a big bounce back year.
Yeah. I know a lot of nice people that can't throw 96. So I don't need another guy that's great and is a hard worker. I need him to produce. If I'm a Blue Jays fan, like I love it that he's all those. I love those qualities. Let's go.
Put it on the field. I agree.
Let's go get it going, please. That's simple. Today's edition of Baseball Today is presented to you by our friends over at True Classic. The holidays are here. We told you that already. Go get yourself a True Classic tee and also do some shopping for the people you love. It is the best way to get a great looking shirt with an array of colors into your special someone's wardrobe. Go to trueclassic.com, use the code word today And so it's actually going to be trueclassic.com/today. You're going to get 25% off your True Classic with that exclusive link. In fact, True Classic has already helped more than 2 million men look great in their tees, and now you can save as well. They've got more than tees. They got polos. They got draws as well. They got all sorts of fitting different tees for big fellas out there. So if you need those long and tall options, they've got that. And they also go all the way up to triple XL. The thing I love about True Classic is that no matter where you are weight-wise these days, as you head into the holidays, they make you look great. I throw one of those on and people always come up to me. They're like, have you lost weight, Chris? I'm like, no, actually, it's the other direction. I'm just wearing my True Classic tee. So go get it. You've got all the colors of the rainbow. I've told you this before. I open up my closet. You know, I've got my black one over here. I got my light blue one over here. I've got my ocean blue there. I got my gray there. So I'm, one of those people that lines up all my t-shirts based on color coding and stuff like that. And so, boom, I just pick it off and I wear it. It is that simple. Go out and get it today. 25% off at trueclassic.com/today and free shipping for any order over $100. We continue on. You know who might be spending some money there? Stevie Cohen. If he uses that code
buy
word
the
today,
company, I don't know.
He might. He could save some money because we know that he doesn't care about saving money when it comes to the New York Mets. Since we last met last Thursday, he has added Kodai Senga for $75 million from Japan. Dave Robertson 1 for 10. Re-up Nimmo for 8 and 162. Are you more interested in the personnel that the Mets brought in, or the fact that Stevie Cohen is just blowing past the Stevie Cohen tax and don't give a damn?
I know you don't like this shit, Chris, but it's both, man. Okay. And it can be both in this instance. I'm happy with the people they've went out and brought in. I mean, a lot of people are going to say Stevie Cohen's out there just spending money to spend money, but I think they've really went out and picked quality people to bring into the organization. Now, I know you lost Walker, you lost Bassitt, and obviously you lost DeGrom, but you bring in JV, who was incredible last year. You bring in Senga, who throws 100. Okay. And then you bring in Nimmo, bring him back, keep him in your colors for his whole career. But also this David Robertson move. I love moves like this. It's cheap. I think he can be really effective. He had a great year last year. So they're bringing in quality people. This isn't just spending to spend. I think they're going to get value out of these guys. And, you look at what the Rangers had to give Jacob deGrom and what they've spent now on bringing all these reinforcements in. It's about the same. I think they've done a really good job. Now, I love that they created a tax in this latest CBA, basically called the Stevie Cohen tax. And of course he goes past it. Of course he does. He doesn't care, Chris. I know you have these numbers, but I'm going to say them anyway. They're $104 million in taxes right now. That's what they're going to have to pay. And that's more than 11 teams' current payroll. Steve Cohen made a promise. He's kept that promise, and it's good for baseball.
How do you think it works when he walks into the next owners' meetings? Is he going to be the least popular guy in that room, far and away?
Honestly, he's got some buddies. I mean, the dude that owns the Padres doesn't give a shit either. And
Peter
Middleton and Philly doesn't give a shit either.
Okay,
like, this is the new crew. I think they might be the most popular kids, and everyone's like, dang, like what are they doing over there? Tell us your secrets.
No, you know what they're doing? They're embarrassing the other owners. And I love it. Like, how could you not root for what he is doing? Right? I wonder how the Yankees fans look at Stevie Cohen.
Wait, we forgot the Rangers owner too. Hey, shout out to you, bro. Like, you're also doing it.
Yeah. He's balling too. Okay. How do you think Yankee fans look at Stevie Cohen?
With envy. Right?
Do you think they were ever envious of the Wilpons?
No. And look, Hal brought back Judge, and they opened up for it. So, like, you got to give him some credit too. Like, I like what's happening right now in free agency.
It's hilarious because Major League Baseball wants to make it seem like they've got no money. They're like, we don't have anything. And then look at what we've done. Look at what has been spent in the offseason. Look at the number of contracts that are at least 8 years for guys who are already in their 30s. It's incredible. It's incredible. So the next time you hear your team say, we got nothing. We looked in our little piggy bank. We don't have anything. You got plenty. And man, the Mets are so fortunate that one of the 50 richest people bought their team. I mean, the dude is worth $17.5 billion. $17.5 billion. And he could have been like some other owners who are very wealthy outside of the sport and said, I'm only going to spend what we bring in. He's like, fuck that. He put an ultimatum on himself the day he bought the team. He said, if we don't win a World Series within 5 years, then I have failed. And he is doing everything he can. Now, he said from day one, he wanted to be very much like the Dodgers. He hasn't exactly followed that blueprint because what have the Dodgers done as well as any team? They've developed on the farm and they've relied on
He's only been there a couple
guys.
of years, though. I mean, he'd give him some time.
I know, but it doesn't, but you know that their team doesn't feel like it's got a good farm system.
No, and I don't feel like he's a patient guy either. So like, yeah,
No,
are they
he's
developing, are they developing now? Yes. And hopefully they'll bear some fruit years down the road. But in the meantime, when you put that, time limit on yourself, the only way to go out and do it is via free agency. Obviously it's the trade market, but free agency, bam.
How some of these owners, not a lot of them, but some have like a meet and greet with the fans, like once a year, you're allowed to ask questions and all sorts of stuff. Would you have the balls to ask your owner, hey, why does Steve Cohen just keep blowing past that tax and our payroll's not even $110 million?
Would I ask that? I don't know, maybe. And the owner might say, well, he's got way more money than we do. Like, we got money, but this guy's got like unlimited. Right? Okay. Like, it's like, look, I want the other owners to, not cry poor. Like, that shouldn't happen. But Steve Cohen does have like 4 or 5 times the amount that these other owners have. Right? Am I wrong on that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, not all owners, just because you're the owner of a baseball team doesn't mean that you have $17.5 billion.
If he wasn't doing something like this, I think the conversation would be like drastic. Like, let's go, dude. Like, let's do this. Yeah. But you know what?
Does this mean now that he can, because there's been a couple of times that he has gone off on social media and said things. Does this give him a little more latitude?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expect him to start being more in the limelight if this team has another 101 win season. Like, for some reason, that's kind of what I envision for him. Like, not like a Jerry Jones, like he's in everything type of situation, but if you buy a team, you want people to know you own the team.
It's interesting because I was thinking about this the other day. At so many NFL, like when the Patriots play, you always see a shot of Bob Kraft. When the Cowboys are on, you always see a shot of Jerry Jones. You'll see Jeffrey Lurie of the Eagles. You'll see a bunch of owners. You always see Mark Davis of the Raiders. You never see baseball owners. They never take a shot of baseball owners.
That's too many games. They don't go to all the games. That's why.
No, I know. But do you think that like we're going to see Stevie Cohen every game? Now we're going to see a shot of him every game.
What do we know about New York? New York is, a very social city, and these circles that these guys run in, like there's not too much that you can have that the other guy can't have. Steve Cohen has a baseball team and there's only 30 of those available. Right. And if you can be the guy that buys the Mets, who like, if you just say the word Mets, like there's like this association with like messing up a little bit. Right. If he buys the Mets and makes them king of New York, he is the king of New York. And that's clearly his goal.
All right, let's move on. Aaron Gleeman, who covers the Twins for The Athletic, says that Minnesota has made, quote, a substantial offer to Carlos Correa. The longer the process goes here, does that help Correa's return to Minnesota or does it hurt it?
I don't really know how to answer that question. Shout out Aaron Gleeman, though. I've done his winter show in Minnesota before, so we're good friends. I don't know. I know that they are definitely in on him. Like he said, they have made a big offer. Rocco Baldelli has recently gone to dinner with him, which I think is really good for the Twins because Rocco is a personal guy and knows kind of what to say. I think Rocco can be a very good salesman. And we do know that Carlos really loved playing in Minnesota. I don't know about like the length. If it keeps going on and on, I think it probably hurts the Twins. But as a player, I know you want to get somewhere. You want to know where you're going to go. You start to get antsy. Now I know, is he with Boris, right? He is.
Yeah.
Well, Boris somehow gets these guys to wait. Like he has a way to convince people to wait till we get the offer that we want. I don't know if the Twins are going to be in the pool late. I think if they can go and get him now while things are stagnant, I think that's their best chance, because there's a lot of big suitors out there. And this will be like the biggest contract by far in Twins history. So I guess answering your question, I think the longer it goes, the less likely the Twins are to land him. But they definitely are in the running right now.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a problem with waiting for Minnesota, to be honest with you, because I look at the other possible suitors. You know, Michael Kay came out yesterday and said Yanks aren't in. They like their young shortstops too much. I'm not buying the Cubs at all. I don't believe a word that comes out of ownership's mouth there. Okay. The Giants, I would believe, would be in it, although I don't think it's a perfect place for him. So where else is there, right? I mean, Seattle already has a pair of middle infielders. They could always trade Crawford if they needed to, but I don't see that as a landing spot for him. Texas has already got two guys there in the middle infield, and could they convince him to play third? I suppose. Maybe that's a spot. Maybe all of a sudden we're paying $1 billion to our infield. I don't know. But other than that, I don't see a whole lot of places that make sense.
I know. I mean, I would say Boston, but they didn't make a big enough offer for Xander. I don't know if they feel like so much better about Carlos that they'd go where he's probably going to get. So there's one there, I guess. I think the Giants are still very much in play. I guess the Dodgers are out. Like, people are like really mad at us that we said Dodgers fans shouldn't care and probably don't care. They were like, yes, we care. We don't want Carlos Correa. That's very interesting to me. I didn't think
I would think that's some Dodger fans. It's we're not saying that you don't care. You're allowed to feel whatever way you want. It's very different with the idea of signing a guy and then figuring out you have to root for him. Like, at the end of the day, what are you going to boo him if he signs a $300 million deal and brings a platinum glove and a clutch bat? You're really going to sit here and boo Carlos Correa because you're still upset? That's it.
It would take some time. It would take some time. Yeah. If you started doing stuff like that, then they'd get over it. Are the Braves a suitor here?
Doesn't feel like it.
I think if it gets down to it and a lot of teams see they have a chance to go get Carlos Correa, I think they'd jump at that chance. You know, it has to make sense for them financially and within their organization and, kind of what they have. But I mean, this is a guy it's one of the best players in baseball, and you can go get him right now. You just have to pony up the cash.
Okay, give me a destination. Where's he landing?
Back to my Twins. They really, really want him. They're pushing for him, and they just got to convince him that like they have a blueprint to win.
I don't see them going with $300 million, and I think the Xander number pushed him over 3 if he wasn't there already. I do think San Francisco, out of desperation, that they end up going with him, because I don't think they're ready to have him. But we'll see. They've said for years, we're going to spend. And the things they've done so far, Haniger and Manaea. And that's obviously not enough to even get close to Dodgers or Padres in that division. All right, last thing. Blitzball Battle continues. We do have one of our finalists, as Lovia's took care of Shea Station, but we definitely had the moment of this season happen in the first round of the playoffs in a 0-0 game. I'm in my World Cup mode. As yes, the one and only Jolly Olive stepping in against the boss man, John Boy.
It's Jolly Olive! It's Jolly Olive! Oh my God, what about? I cannot believe it!
There you have it. Jolly Olive with the walk-off shot. Where does that rank all time among the legendary homers?
In Blitzball history, that's the biggest home run of all time. And you and I were in the booth together with Peter Moylan, and we had seen Jolly and kind of the failure that he's had at the plate. Blitzball 1, no hits. Up until this time in Blitzball 2, no hits. And we kept saying, bro, get the hands up a little bit. Stop having them so low. He picked them up right there, a little adjustment, and walked it off. And you saw the raw emotion. All of that is real. None of that is fake. Like, we lost it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it resonates, man. That was amazing.
Well, I'll take it a step further. I'll put it right up there with Kirk Gibson, Kirby Puckett, probably Carlton Fisk. I mean, I'm just saying.
The probability of
stuff.
that home run was probably on par with the rest of those. Like maybe even
unreal,
less probability.
And we were all so happy for that kid because it wasn't easy. He thought about not participating based on the social media vitriol that he received in the inaugural Blitzball battle. But he will have that memory forever. And good for he. And God, I'm so happy for Jolly.
Yeah,
that was cool. Latest episode of the Rose Rotation is out. It is a special one that we did at the winter meetings. We got Terry Francona of the Guardians. We've got Brandon Hyde of the Orioles, who was really, really good and funny. And we got Jerry DiPoto of the Mariners. And I think there was a totally different side to him as well. So we packaged all three of those like 15-minute interviews together to have one. We'll be releasing a National League one later in the week as well. So make sure you check that out. And then, of course, Plouffe's got his Talkin' Baseball, which they're doing, 3 times a week?
Monday and Wednesdays as of
Monday and Wednesday, too. Okay, speaking of doing a show twice a week, we'll do that as well. We are back on Thursday. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, the always entertaining Dan Rourke, and Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on Baseball Today.